This episode is brought to you by Hasa. Liquid is clearly better. Liquid chlorine is the highest purity, works immediately, has no added cyanuric acid or calcium, and it will leave your pool safe, clean, and clear. And by the Bottom Feeder professional grade battery powered vacuum system. It sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off with code DVB100.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to answer and expand on some questions I get on YouTube. And of course, I cover a number of topics when I do these podcasts where I expand on the comments. And I think you're going to find a lot of helpful information as I kind of unpack these questions and offer more detailed responses. Are you a pool service pro looking to take your business to the next level? Join the Pool Guy Coaching Program. Get expert advice, business tips, exclusive content, and get direct support. For me, I'm a 35-year veteran in the industry. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, I've got the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at swimmingpoollearning.com. Here's one that you may run into in the field as well. And this one is, why is my four-wheeled Phoenix 4X cleaner, my Phoenix 4X cleaner goes sideways most of the time? This is the same thing with the Hayward Aquanaut as well. It doesn't really happen very often with the actual Hayward pool cleaner. Now let me explain, I'll back up a little bit. Hayward acquired the Pool Vernugan cleaner from Pool Vernugan. And so they have 3 versions of it. One is called the pool cleaner, one is called the Phoenix, and one is called the Aquanaut. They have a 2- and a 4-wheel version, with a lot of people preferring the 4-wheeled version. Now one thing about the 4-wheel version that happens that doesn't happen to the 2-wheel version is that it can tilt over on its side and then not right itself. I really think it has a lot to do with the added handle, the weight of the handle on top, making the cleaner a little bit unbalanced compared to the pool cleaner, which is the exact Pool Vernugan model basically, with kind of an inset handle underneath. And so what happens is that if you don't have the proper hose length, and this is the solution by the way, the proper hose length, when it gets to a certain point in the pool, let's say it's going to the deep end and you notice it tips over and it stays on its side and it's kind of moving on the side of its body with kind of like the wheels spinning. It's not actually on the ground, if that makes sense. That's because you need 1 or 2 more hose length to prevent that from happening. Again, it doesn't really happen with the Hayward pool cleaner in my experience, but only the Hayward Aquanaut or Phoenix because of the handle on top that makes this cleaner slightly unbalanced in my opinion. And if you don't have the proper hose length or too short of a hose length, you can have it tip over sideways in the pool. And the cleaner has no way of righting itself really. There's no way it's going to right itself until it finally gets to an area in the pool, maybe where it hits a corner or a slope and can right itself. So simply add 1 or 2 more hose sections to the cleaner will do the trick. Sometimes moving the float up or down on the first hose helps a little bit as well. But I find that the main solution is just adding 1 or 2 more hose sections so that it has more area to turn out and won't turn over and fall on the side. Something Hayward probably didn't think about when they added the handle on the back. And probably the original owner didn't know that this would happen either. But it does make it a little bit lopsided or top heavy. And if it does get on its side, it doesn't right itself. It only falls on its side again if it has not enough hose section to stay upright. The question here is, will this work on the whisper flow? And this was from a video on the Superflow where I set the priming speed down to something decent. Now, if you have a variable speed pump, and this does work on a whisper flow, I'll answer that question. It works on all the VS pumps. You just have to find out how exactly to do this in the menu. The Superflow is the easiest one to program, but you go into the menu, you can change the priming speed and the priming duration as well. Why this matters? Well, let's say you have a pool and you don't really need it to prime at 3450 RPMs for 5 minutes. It's really unnecessary. It's a waste of energy, it's a waste of time, and it's really a noise-inducing thing. And this is especially true if the VS pump comes on early in the morning and it's right next to maybe a bedroom or a neighbor's house, and that 3 to 5 minute annoying full power burst from the VS pump is jarring and it's unnecessary. So you could actually go in there and change the priming speed down. And I would suggest you do this to your VS pump because it doesn't really need to prime at that speed, honestly, especially if you're running your variable speed pump at pretty low RPMs or percentages. For example, I'll run mine at a low speed for most of the day, 1800 RPMs, and then I'll have it at a medium speed of 26 RPMs for the rest of the day or the rest of the runtime. So why do I need it to prime at 3450 RPMs, and have it prime and then drop back down to 1800? It doesn't make any sense. So basically you could prime it at 2800. I think at 2600 you're still pretty good. 2800 seems to be a pretty good sweet spot for most pool pumps, and the noise level is acceptable. It's not too loud. It's probably a little louder than, of course, the low speed or medium speed, but not much more than the medium speed. And it primes up the pool fine. It's just that if there's any air in there, maybe some air got in there overnight or whatever, priming it for 3 minutes at 2800 RPMs is sufficient. You can go to 3100 if you want to, or 3000 RPMs, but essentially, unless the pool is like 40,000 gallons and the pump is really far from the skimmer and it has to pull a lot of water, I would say priming it for 5 minutes at 3450 RPMs is really unnecessary. And if you have a VS pump and you don't want it to prime at the full speed, just go into the menu of the pump and you can find where you can reset it, or actually set it down to a lower priming speed and set it down for a lower priming time. And again, 3 minutes seems to be the sweet spot in my opinion. Here's one that I get a lot, and this one is, I'm in the market to replace my salt system. It's a 10-year-old AquaRite, and I've talked to 3 different local pool people, and no one has heard of CircuPool. Now, CircuPool's been around for a long time, but I would say that unless you actually actively search for it, you can go on Amazon, you can find a lot of the CircuPool models listed there. It's going to be hard to find this particular model in a lot of backyards, especially if you're in an area where Pentair dominates or Hayward dominates. And if you wanted to switch out to the CircuPool cell, I really recommend doing that because it is a very robust salt system with a very long 8-year prorated warranty. The cells are really well made, and they have retrofit kits for some of the models for the Hayward AquaRite system so that the salt cell will sit right into where the AquaRite system is. They have some that fit exactly into the AquaRite unions. Why go with an off-brand or another brand salt cell? I just recently did a podcast on, quote, generic salt cells, but there are some that have been around just as long as the major name brands like AquaPilot. Those have been around for a long time. And so the CircuPool cell is a great choice. It's a robust cell. It's got a long lifespan, and it's a much better cell, in my opinion, than most of the salt cells out there. Now, I also am pretty partial to the Jandy TrueClear cell. I like that one, and I mentioned in that podcast where I talked about different cells, I like the fact that the Jandy cell is pretty inexpensive to replace wears out after 3 or 4 years, but the CircuPool cells are also very inexpensive to replace over time. So I wouldn't hesitate to buy a CircuPool system, and the new core control system that came out recently would be a top choice. This one has an ORP and pH sensor you can put into the housing of the cell, and then you can monitor the ORP and pH, and you can get a pH pump also so that the system actually adds acid to the pool. It's basically a totally hands-off system. You have your app, and then you have everything controlling it, the ORP, the salt cell output, the pH injection or the acid injection with the pH control. So really it's a really revolutionary system, and I would highly recommend that one over maybe a Pentair or a Hayward system if you're looking to upgrade and change your system entirely. There really aren't too many salt systems I would recommend outside of Pentair, Jandy, and Hayward, but the CircuPool, the AutoPilot, these are the ones that I would definitely recommend because they're really their own branded product. They may not be as big as Jandy or Pentair, but they are a great robust saltwater system with really good reviews. If you look online, the CircuPool systems get stellar reviews, and I have some installed on my pools here in Southern California, and they work really well. The customer really has no complaints at all. It's a really robust salt system, really well-made product. You can see right away that it's well manufactured when you get the product in your hand. And the Pool Guy Podcast Show has teamed up with UPA to bring you affordable, reliable liability insurance starting at just $64 a month. Get up to $2 million in coverage, and the members of my coaching group get an even lower rate. Protect your business and your peace of mind. Sign up with UPA today by clicking the link in the podcast description. Here's a question related again to the Hayward Aquanaut, and this one is, waiting to purchase this one. Question, do I need a valve? Do I need to turn the valve off for the floor drains to divert all the pressure to the skimmer? And I'm switching from a pressure cleaner to this, and I want to have only my variable speed pump running and not the booster pump. And will this get stuck on the main drain? So this is an important question to ask about a suction side cleaner. And yes, I think it's really smart if you can divert or turn off the main drain. You wouldn't need that per se with the suction side cleaner working in there. The cleaner wouldn't technically get stuck on the main drain if there was still suction coming from it. Those are mainly the balancing type cleaners like the Creepy Crawly or the Zodiac G3. Those tend to get stuck on the main drain if the main drain is operational and active, because the counter suction kind of sucks the rubber plate onto the drain. But for the gear type cleaners like the Navigator and the Pool Cleaner, the MX8, the Atlas or Max Cleaner, they don't really have that problem getting stuck on the main drain if there's suction coming from it. But with that said, it's much better to have all the suction going to the skimmer anyway, because what you're going to do is divert some of that suction to the cleaner. So you would want the skimmer to work as well as it can, and with the main drain on, it's not going to pull the water as well into the skimmer. And since you're diverting some of that suction to the automatic cleaner, you would want the skimmer to have as much power as possible, and the main drain really serves no logical purpose with the automatic cleaner running in the pool. Now, as far as it getting stuck on the drain, this is something that can happen to most suction side cleaners, especially with the new anti-vortex main drains. And these drains, they look like a vegetable strainer on the bottom of the pool. They're like gigantic. And most of the cleaners do have trouble in a new pool build, especially the Hayward Navigator and Aquanaut Phoenix pool cleaner, because they just don't have a wide enough path to get off the main drain, and they can get hung up on there and stuck on there. So I would suggest, if you do have one of these anti-vortex main drains, that the only cleaner that I would recommend in that case would be the Polaris Max or Polaris Atlas cleaner, because they definitely have a much wider body on these cleaners, and to this date you don't really see these getting stuck on the anti-vortex main drains. So cleaners can get stuck on them. A bunch of them will get stuck on the anti-vortex main drain types, but the ones that don't really have a problem would be the Polaris Max and Atlas cleaner. And I think I did suggest that to the person to go with the Polaris Atlas cleaner or Max cleaner to avoid it getting stuck on the main drain. I don't know if his pool was a newer one with an anti-vortex main drain, but it's a smarter idea to go with those if you do have that. Now, if you just have a regular drain in the bottom of the pool, all the cleaners will be fine. Just make sure you turn the suction off to it to maximize the skimmer and to prevent any potentiality of the cleaner getting stuck on there with the counter suction of that main drain. This one here comes from the shrimp posting. It says, what bag do you recommend for the shrimp cleaner? It's by the bottom feeder. I've gotten their bags and they rip after 1 month. You also recommend having a cart vacuum and a portable one? So this is like a twofold question. The first one is the bags that he gets rip. And if he's using the 57 micron, there's a chance that that is going to rip within a month because it's thinner. It's for a lower micron. And I would really not recommend those bags unless you really need to use them to get dirt off the bottom. Just get the regular 100 micron bag. Those are better. But if you really wanted to check for aftermarket bags that are really robust, I think there are two companies that make really good bags. One is from ClearPool Products, the ClearPool bag. If you go to clearpoolproducts.com, you're going to see a bunch of different micron bags. They have anywhere from, a 90 micron up to a 200 and a 400. Great choice there. And then my buddy Reggie, he's from Mako Bags. He's in Florida. He makes a really good vacuum system bag as well. And those two are what I would consider the best two aftermarket bags you can get. The ClearPool Products bag and the Mako bag. Those are really good bags that are going to last much more than 1 month. And if you do have the shrimp or bottom feeder, and if you want to get dirt out of the pool, I would suggest moving away from the smaller micron bags and getting the cartridge filter assembly. This will get dirt down to 10 to 20 microns, and it's not going to tear on you or rip like a bag would. And it's something that I would suggest doing if you have, a bottom feeder or a shrimp. Now, the second part of the question, would you recommend having a cart vacuum and a portable vacuum? That's really up to your budget, up to your service area, but I see no reason not to have both a bottom feeder and a Riptide on your truck. The Riptide would be great for those instances where you really need the extra power. It's also a really showy item. I mean, let's just admit it, you can't really tell if you have a bottom feeder or shrimp in your truck unless you put it on the hood of your truck or something, or tie it to the tail of your truck, which I don't recommend because someone's going to steal it. But the Riptide definitely is visually attractive to customers. Like, this guy has a system on the back of the truck. Yes, I think the Riptide does show well. It works really well, but there is definitely a trade-off because it's bigger. It's on a cart. You can put a lot of stuff in the cart and bring it back there, don't get me wrong. But the bottom feeder definitely is portable. The shrimp, you just have that with no cords on it, drop it into the pool and then start vacuuming. And of course, the Riptide has more power than the bottom feeder and shrimp, but it's a trade-off basically. Power versus versatility and speed. I think, of course, the bottom feeder and shrimp went in that latter category. And the Riptide definitely is powerful, and it can be convenient because you have a cart where you can put everything in it. So if your budget allows for it, I really think you should have both, the Riptide and the bottom feeder. I see no problem with you having two different vacuum systems. One is going to be utilized for quick vacuuming, and the other one's going to be utilized maybe to bring stuff back to your stop. You'll have the vacuum system with you, plus you'll have room to put everything there. So it's kind of a win-win to have both of them, but it's not a necessity to have two vacuum systems. And it's really ultimately up to you which vacuum system to choose if you're going to go with one. The cart with the Riptide, or if you want a portable one without any cord or cart, then the bottom feeder shrimp would be my top choice in that category. If you're looking for other podcasts, you can find those by going to my website, swimmingpoollearning.com, and clicking on the podcast icon on the banner. That'll take you to a drop-down menu with over 1,900 podcasts there for you to listen to. And if you're interested in a coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a good rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.